Imagine having access to, well, superhuman powers.
Right.
Walking through walls, reading minds, maybe even controlling the elements fire, water. But what if the deepest wisdom actually said all those flashy displays are kind of a distraction? Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take your sources, dig in deep, and pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge. And today, we're diving into a really fascinating ancient text. It's the Kevaṭṭasuttaṃ from the Digha Nikaya in the Buddhist tradition. Our mission today, we want to explore what really counts as a prodigy or a miracle, according to this text, and why asking questions that go beyond just conventional wisdom can be so insightful. We'll also see what happens when these fundamental questions about reality get pushed right to their limit. So if you've ever felt maybe overwhelmed by information or perhaps tempted by quick fixes, then yeah, this deep dive is definitely for you. It's really a journey that shows how true understanding often means looking past the superficial stuff. Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. We've got Bhagavan the Buddha, and he's staying near Nālandā in Pavarika's mango grove. And Nālandā, it's described as, prosperous, bustling with people, and they're apparently very devoted to Bhagavan. Then this local guy, Kevaṭṭa, son of a householder, comes up to him.
Right. And Kevaṭṭa comes with a specific proposal. He basically says, hey, Bhagavan, you should get one of your monks to perform a superhuman feat of psychic power. And Titi Vaiharya, his thinking is, a big flashy display like that, it would really cement the faith of the people in Nālandā, make them even more devoted. He's looking for a spectacle.
Spectacle. Okay, so
Yeah.
Kevaṭṭa is basically asking for a showstopper, right? Something amazing to, boost faith.
Exactly.
But what's the thinking behind that request, and why is Bhagavan so quick to refuse?
Because he does refuse,
Oh,
right?
immediately. Yeah, his first response is a clear no. He says, look, I don't teach my monks to do these kinds of performances for householders. And what's really fascinating is Kevaṭṭa's assumption, this idea that, a display of external power automatically leads to deeper faith. It really brings up the question, what actually inspires genuine understanding, lasting devotion? Bhagavan's reply, right off the bat, signals his priority is elsewhere.
And Kevaṭṭa doesn't just accept the no, does he? Not at all. He pushes back, asks again, and then a third time. He's persistent.
He really wants that magic show. Okay, so after the third request, Bhagavan changes tack a bit.
He does. He doesn't give in, but he uses it as a teaching moment. He says, okay, look, there are 3 types of prodigies or miracles that I have personally known and proclaimed. The first one is exactly what Kevaṭṭa was asking for. The prodigy is psychic power. Itipahirai. And this covers all the classic stuff. Multiplying yourself, vanishing, walking through walls, mountains.
Wow.
Yeah, moving through earth like it's water, walking on water, flying, touching the sun and moon, even controlling your body all the way up to the highest heavens, the Brahma world.
Okay, that sounds pretty impressive. So why isn't Bhagavan keen on it? What's the catch?
Here's the crucial point. Bhagavan points out the flaw. He says, imagine a faithful person sees one of these amazing feats and tells someone else. What happens? An unfaithful person, a skeptic, can just easily dismiss it. They can say, oh, that monk just used a Gandhari magic spell. It's kind of trickery.
Okay, so it can just be explained away.
Precisely. Because of that inherent weakness, that potential for dismissal, Bhagavan says, quite strongly, I detest, loathe, and despise this prodigy of psychic power.
That's right.
The outward show, however amazing, just doesn't hold up against doubt.
That's a really interesting perspective. It kind of cuts the legs out from under the whole idea of proving something through miracles.
Yeah.
So what's the second type of prodigy?
The second one is the prodigy of revelation, adasanapaihir. This is basically mind reading, the ability to know someone else's mind, their thoughts, their intentions, to say, this is what you're thinking, this is your intention right now.
Mind reading. Okay, that feels maybe a bit harder to fake than, say, walking through a wall.
You might think so.
So what's the problem Bhagavan sees with this one? Why does he reject it too?
Well, it turns out it's pretty much the same issue. He says, again, an unfaithful person can just wave it away. They'll attribute it to a different kind of spell, maybe a Maicha charm or a technique, another form of clever trickery.
So even mind reading isn't foolproof of proof.
Nope. And for that same reason, Bhagavan says he also detests, loathes, and despises this prodigy of revelation.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting then. He's dismissed psychic powers, dismissed mind reading, things many people would consider genuine miracles. So what's left? What's the third prodigy? And why is this one apparently okay, even valuable?
This really gets to the heart of it. Bhagavan's point is that these external displays, psychic powers, mind reading, they're impressive, sure. but they can always be doubted, rationalized away. They don't necessarily lead to real transformation.
Right.
The truly profound impact, the undeniable change, comes from something else entirely. And that's the third prodigy, the prodigy of instruction. Anusasane Peharia. This is the act of giving clear, wise guidance, teaching someone, think this way, not that way. Pay attention to this, not that. Let go of this unhelpful state. Cultivate this beneficial one.
So it's teaching, guiding.
Exactly. But it's presented as a prodigy, a kind of miracle in itself. And it's described in its highest form, too. The Sutta says this highest form is like the appearance of a fully enlightened Buddha, a Tathagata, in the world. Someone who teaches the complete path, including achieving deep states of meditation, the jhanas.
Which are states of deep concentration.
Yes, profound focus and inner calm. And ultimately, teaching the path to realizing the end of the cycle of rebirth. Understanding, as the text says, nabra ethatiyadi pajanati, knowing, basically, there's no further becoming for me. Liberation.
So compared to flying or reading minds, the real miracle is effective teaching that leads to inner liberation.
That's precisely it. Bhagavan implicitly endorses this as the truly valuable prodigy among the three he knows. It's about empowering the individual from within, not just dazzling them from without.
It makes so much sense when you put it like that. The first two can be faked, or at least dismissed as fakes, but genuine internal change prompted by wise teaching. That's harder to argue with.
Exactly. That transformation is its own evidence.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Why are we often so drawn to the outward spectacle when the real, lasting change happens inside? What kind of magic actually makes a difference in our own lives?
It's a great question to ponder. And speaking of deep questions, the sutta then shifts gears and tells this incredible story about a monk from the Sangha, the community. This monk was wrestling with a really fundamental question.
Okay. What was it?
He wanted to know, where do these four great elements, earth, water, fire, and wind, where do they completely cease without leaving any remainder?
Whoa. Okay, that's not a small question. Where does physical reality itself just...
Exactly. A huge metaphysical question. And this monk doesn't just sit and ponder it. Using his meditative skills, his deep samadhi, he literally opens up a path to the divine realms and goes on a quest for the answer.
It goes on a journey, like physically or mentally.
The text implies a form of travel possible through deep meditation. He ascends through the heavens. It's quite an extraordinary journey. He basically starts polling the gods.
Seriously? Okay, tell me about this cosmic survey.
Well, first he goes to the realm of the four great kings, sort of guardians of the cardinal directions. Asks them. They don't know. They say, you got to go higher.
Okay.
So he ascends to the next level, the heaven of the 33 devas. Asks them. Nope, they don't know either. They point him to their leader, Sakka, who's like the king of the gods.
And Sakka knows.
Sakka doesn't know either. So Sakka sends him further up through progressively higher celestial realms, the Yamadevas, the Tusita Devas.
Wow, this is quite the climb.
It is. Then the Nimanarti Devas, the Paranimidavasavadi Devas. At each level, the chief deity says, sorry, can't help you. Try the next level up.
He's going all the way up the cosmic ladder. Where does he end up?
Eventually, he's directed to the highest realms, the realms of the Brahmas. First, the Brahmacati Devas, the retinue of Brahma. They also don't know. But they point him to the ultimate authority, the great Brahma himself.
The great Brahma. And how is he described? It sounds like he should know everything.
Oh, the description is impressive. They call him the overlord, the unovercome, the all-seeing, the controller, the creator, the fashioner, the best, the arranger, the master, the father of all that have been and will be. You know, the top dog.
Yeah, sounds like the guy with the answers. His arrival is even preceded by light and radiance, right?
Exactly. So the monk finally gets his audience with the great Brahma.
And he asks the question, where do the four elements cease?
He does. He asks his question. But Brahma, well, he doesn't answer.
He doesn't answer. What does he do?
He just starts boasting about himself, reciting all those titles we just heard. I am the great Brahma, the creator, the overlord. He completely evades the question.
No way. The monk traveled across the universe for this, so what does the monk do?
He asks again. Same question. Brahma gives the same non-answer, just more self-praise.
He persists, though.
Oh, yeah. The monk asks a third time, pushes him on it.
And what happens then? Does Brahma finally crack?
He does, but not publicly. After the third time, Brahma takes the monk aside, privately.
Ah, interesting.
And in private, Brahma confesses. He says, look, monk, between you and me, I actually don't know the answer either.
Wow. The supposed creator doesn't know where creation ends.
Exactly. He admits he couldn't say that in front of his retinue, the other Brahmas, because they all believe he's omniscient. He had to keep up appearances.
That's incredible. So what else did Brahma say?
He then tells the monk, you made a mistake at Dukkhatai by going everywhere else looking for this answer. He advises the monk, go back to Bhagavan, the Buddha. Ask him. He's the one you should have asked in the first place.
So the highest God basically says, wrong address, mate, go ask the Buddha.
Pretty much. And then, demonstrating his own advanced meditative power, the monk instantly reappears right back in front of Bhagavan. The text says it was as quick as a strong man extending or contracting his arm.
Ooh, back he comes.
Back he comes. And he asks Bhagavan the same question he asked everyone else. Venerable Sir, where do these four great elements, earth, water, fire, and wind, cease without remainder?
Okay, so this monk undertakes this epic, universe-spanning quest, uses incredible powers, gets all the way to the top, confronts the supposed creator, and still comes back empty-handed. What does that tell us about looking for knowledge and, like, where we look for it?
It's such a powerful part of the story. It really highlights the limitations, doesn't it? Even of these incredibly high beings or realms when it comes to ultimate fundamental truth. It strongly suggests that maybe searching externally, even on a cosmic scale, might be missing the point if the question itself isn't quite right. True understanding, it seems, isn't about just gathering facts from higher and higher authorities. Maybe it's about looking at the questions themselves differently.
It makes you wonder, where do you usually go when you have really deep questions, your absolute biggest questions? And do you ever stop and think, hang on, am I even asking the right question here?
Exactly.
So the monk is back. He's asked Bhagavan the question. How does Bhagavan respond after this incredible journey?
Well, first Bhagavan uses this really neat analogy. He compares the monk to a shore-sighting bird.
A shore-sighting bird? What's that?
He explains that ancient seafaring merchants, when they were far out at sea and couldn't see land, would release a bird. If the bird saw land, it would fly towards it. If it didn't see land in any direction, it would fly back to the ship.
Ah, I see.
So Bhagavan is saying to the monk, you're like that bird. You flew all the way to the Brahma world, the highest point, found no shore, no answer, and now you've returned right here to me.
Okay, nice analogy. But then does he answer the question?
He addresses the question, but first he corrects it. He tells the monk, that question you've been asking, where do the four great elements cease? That's not actually the right way to ask it.
Not the right way. So the monk went on this huge cosmic quest asking the wrong question all along.
That's the implication. Bhagavan says the premise is flawed.
So what is the right way to ask it, according to Bhagavan? This feels like the crucial turning point.
It really is. Bhagavan reframes the inquiry completely. He says the proper question is, where do water, earth, fire, and wind find no footing? Where do long and short, fine and coarse, beautiful and ugly, where do name and form cease without remainder?
Whoa, okay, that's different. He's added concepts like length, beauty, ugliness, and even name and form, which is like mental and physical existence itself. Where do all these things find no footing, no ground to stand on?
Exactly. He broadens it way beyond just the physical elements.
Yeah.
He's pointing towards the cessation of all conditioned phenomena, all constructed reality, including our conceptual distinctions.
So the universe itself doesn't hold the answer in the way the monk thought. It's pointing somewhere else entirely, a radical shift. So what is the answer to that question?
This is the ultimate payoff. Bhagavan gives this profound answer. He says, consciousness vinya, non-manifestative, boundless, radiant all around. It is here that water, earth, fire, and wind find no footing. It is here that long and short, fine and coarse, beautiful and ugly cease without remainder. It is here that name and form cease without remainder. And the final line is key. With the cessation of consciousness, this ceases.
Wow, okay. Let's unpack that slowly. Consciousness. Vinyasa. Not a place, not a dimension, but consciousness itself. But described as non-manifestative, boundless, radiant.
It's pointing to a state, or perhaps the fundamental nature of awareness itself, that is beyond the limitations and characteristics of the conditioned world. It's not consciousness of something in the usual sense. And crucially, it's the ground, or maybe the lack of ground, where all these other things, elements, concepts, name and form, simply don't apply or arise. They cease.
And it ceases when consciousness itself ceases. Is that referring to nibbana, enlightenment?
That's the widely accepted interpretation, yes. The cessation of the constructing, grasping consciousness that perpetuates the cycle of suffering and rebirth. When that ceases, the entire framework of name and form, the elements, the conceptual distinctions, they all cease in terms of their ultimate reality or footing.
So the answer wasn't where do the elements stop existing in space, but how does the entire phenomenal world, which is perceived and constructed through consciousness, ultimately cease?
Exactly. It shifts the focus from an external physical location to the internal ground of experience and perception itself.
Yeah.
It challenges our basic assumption that these elements and concepts have some kind of independent ultimate existence separate from consciousness.
That is truly profound. That's the real aha moment of this whole sutta, isn't it? It's not about finding a geographical boundary, but understanding the relationship between consciousness and reality itself.
Absolutely. That's the core insight this deep dive uncovers. The initial question led the monk on a wild goose chase because it was based on a misunderstanding of how things fundamentally are. The real answer lies in understanding the nature and cessation of consciousness.
And Kevaṭṭa, the guy who wanted the magic show at the beginning, what did he think of all this?
The text ends by saying Kevaṭṭa, the householder's son, was pleased and rejoiced in Bhagavan's words.
Huh. So even the guy looking for the spectacle got the deeper point in the end.
It seems so. It suggests that even though he started with a superficial request, he was able to appreciate the depth of the wisdom Bhagavan offered instead.
Okay, so let's recap this incredible journey. We started with Kevaṭṭa wanting a miracle show.
Right, a display of psychic power or mind reading.
And Bhagavan basically said, nope, those are flawed, easily dismissed. He pointed instead to the prodigy of instruction, of teaching the path to inner transformation.
The truly valuable miracle.
Then we followed that determined monk on his unbelievable cosmic quest, searching high and low, even questioning the creator God.
Only to find the highest authority didn't have the answer either, and was told to go back to the Buddha.
And finally, Bhagavan reveals the answer wasn't about where the elements stop, but understanding that the entire structure of reality as we perceive it, elements, concepts, name, and form, finds no footing and ceases with the cessation of consciousness itself.
Yeah, the true deep dive, as this sutta shows, isn't about being wowed by external powers. It's about gaining genuine insight, transforming understanding through clear instruction, and, critically, reevaluating our most fundamental questions and assumptions about reality.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. If the very fabric of reality that we perceive, all the elements, all the names we give things, all the forms we see, if that fundamentally ceases with the cessation of consciousness, what does that really imply about the nature of our own existence? About the world we experience every single day?
And maybe, what practical difference could this ancient perspective make? How might it change the way you search for understanding, or how you navigate the constant flood of information and claims in your own life today?
Something deep to think about.